Hello and welcome again to another episode of Anime Splash. I'm Neal Trotter.
And I'm Ricky Morris.
Alright, so today we're talking about this anime. It's called Fate Zero. And with Ricky, he's going to break down the plot. So, go ahead.
Okay, so Fate Zero is actually the prequel to Fate Stay Night. And, you can actually watch either one of those. Just watching Fate Zero might spoil a couple of things for you in Fate Stay Night, but it's really not that big of a deal. But in this world, basically it takes place during something called the Holy Grail Wars, where the Holy Grail is this magical thing that seemingly grants wishes, and it picks 7 magicians. There's sorcery in this world, but it's in a modern setting. But it picks 7 sorcerers and just 7 people, and each one of those people summon up a servant to fight, and these servants are actually like ancient heroes of legend. Like you got King Arthur, Gilgamesh, Alexander the Great. And others that show up that you might recognize if you're really familiar with your history and your legends. And basically, the servants and the masters do battle with each other, and it's pretty much a battle royale. And the last last group standing gets the Holy Grail.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the premise of this anime. I've never seen the original one. What's the original one called again?
Fate Stay Night.
Okay, yeah, never seen that. So, I actually liked this anime, Fate Zero. It has some qualities to it that I could see people not liking, but personally, I guess it kind of tailors toward some things that I like in terms of storyline. Mechanics, kind of like some of the techniques they use. So first, what I think is that this anime is pretty heavy in terms of dialogue. So that there's a lot of, not only do they talk a lot, there's a lot of content chunked up in little conversations. So I mean, they'll be talking for like let's say like 15 seconds, and there's just all this information that you got. I found that I couldn't really look away, because if I did, I probably would miss something that was important. I remember one time they were just describing, so they're after this Holy Grail, and I guess I missed the part where they were explaining where it all started from. I guess they're probably talking about the this is the prequel or the sequel to the.
It's a prequel, but there's actually like other ones. There's like Fate Extelia, some other Fate thing. There's like this is the 3rd Holy Grail War.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they were talking about the previous series or what, but they were explaining that Holy Grail, and they did it so fast.
There's actually like a lot of like supplemental things that they came out with that explain everything, and like I think the VNs are actually have more into them about that. So.
Yep. So this anime has a chock full of information, content, mythology, techniques. In terms of fighting tech. They talk a lot about strategy and how we're gonna do this and what we need to do to get the upper hand. There's a lot of dialogue going on. So if you're one of those people that are really into like heavy dialogue, you're gonna like this. It does have some action sequences. I personally think it's not. Although I think the action sequences are so kind of over the top that it seems like it has more than it actually has, because in my opinion, it doesn't have that many. But I still liked it. Now, another thing that I liked about the anime is the way they set the mood and the tone. It's pretty dark. The mood and the tone of the show is dark, and so they reflect that with the lighting of the room. There's a lot of shadows, and then there's a lot of shaded areas and a lot of nighttime scenes. So, and in terms of just the animation quality of that, I thought it was pretty good. but also the way they used it to set the tone was very good in my opinion as well. Yeah. Let's see what else I liked. I also liked how they dealt with the scenes, because what happens is that so as Ricky said, there are the Holy Grail chooses these various, I guess what they call them, servants.
They choose, the Holy Grail chooses some masters, seven masters, yeah. and the masters summon up some like servants, and those servants, depending on like what you use to summon them. Like if you don't use anything, it's gonna summon up someone kind of random for you, but well, not totally random, but like sort of like that works with best with you. But if you like use an artifact, that would better your chances of getting something more powerful.
Yeah. So I don't know if I remember, it was 7 of them.
Yeah, there's 7 of them.
There's 7 masters. So as a result, you got all these different situations and scenarios going on back to back, kind of at the same time, and so they switch in between these scenarios constantly, and they're interconnected. Some of them connect to each other, but a lot of times is there's like these situations where they're doing their separate thing, and you'll be focusing on one master, and then they'll switch the scene to this is a whole other situation, and they do that a lot in some in many TV shows, but in this one particularly, they do it. I think they do it in a very artistic way, where it's where you could see the interconnection between the masters, but at the same time, you could also see how they're very separate and apart from one another, and also in terms of just the not only speaking about the interconnection between the characters, but also just the setting in terms of the tables and the chairs and the environments and maybe the weather, and they do some good stuff making these scenes look very different from one another. The furniture and stuff and all that stuff, I think they did a really good job with that. And so, and to further that point, I also think the transitions are pretty good. They'll have a scene and they'll chock full of content, right, and then they'll switch to another scene, but it's, in my opinion, it's not abrupt, and I think it could easily throw you off if they weren't the writers and the people making the anime weren't good at storytelling. But they did it in a way that's it's not smooth, but the jump makes the show just that much more better, I think, because it kind of like, wow, it's all these situations happening at once, and you're kind of curious, how are these people gonna come into play together? How is this gonna work where they're fighting one another, because they're so different? So I thought that was cool. Now, because it's got a lot of heavy dialogue, I find that the anime moved, this is my personal opinion, it kind of moved on the slow scale of things, and I guess that's relatively speaking, because there's many anime that move just like so quick, so fast. It seemed like it moved pretty slow. I'm talking about like Alfred Hitchcock type of slowness, or like the old type movies. That's how it seemed like to me, which that's not a bad thing. That's just a way of storytelling where you're slowing it down and they're trying to develop these characters and getting things to simmer and build up suspense. So I think if you're kind of wanting action immediately, maybe this might not be the best anime for you. But if you're like one of those people who likes to see things develop and likes to, or you're patient, you like to see things, action not happening for no reason, yeah, I think you're gonna be into this. So the question of Anime Splash, as always, we watched the first 3 episodes. So after the first 3, will we continue watching the show? So what do you think, Ricky? Would you continue?
I would, because at the end of episode 3, 2 of the servants get ready to fight, so it just sort of ended right there. So definitely worth checking out the 4th one at least. Yeah,
that's interesting. It's funny because they use that tool often, and you can mess it up where they build it. Sometimes I find it where they'll do that. They'll be right about to fight, and then it's the next episode, that's when they fight. But sometimes in some anime, they build it up so long, as I'm kind of like sick of it, and by the time that they're ready to do it, I've kind of already lost interest. But this one didn't do it. They did it in a good way. So I actually would continue watching this anime. I think it's pretty good, and the fight scene is probably gonna be cool. But I'm actually not even interested too much in the fight scene. I'm more interested in seeing how these characters are gonna interrelate with one another and how they're gonna fight against each other and how they're gonna continue to find out about each other and also not only masters but these servants who are kind of like these summons and from these legends and mythologies. So that's kind of, I'm more interested in that. This is a really good anime, so you might want to check it out. That's Fate Zero. Okay, so any last minute comments? Anything else you want to throw out?
Not really. Just just again, if you're gonna watch Fate Zero or read the VNs, just with Fate Zero, it might spoil some things for you in Fate Stay Night. So I mean, if you care about that, if you care about things like that, so you might want to go ahead and get into Fate Stay Night first. But really and personally, in my opinion, they both kind of spoil certain plot points for each other. So you might find out some stuff in one and from the other. So you go ahead, just make a decision right for yourself.
Yeah.
What you want to watch first.
Decide what you want to watch. Have you seen the other one?
No. I've seen the anime, and a lot of the fans really don't like the anime. They say the VN's a lot better, so I really need to get on that because the VN has multiple paths and stuff like that. So.
And the VN talking visual novel.
Yeah, the visual novel. Yeah.
See, because I'm ignorant with these terms.
Yeah.
Well, and also as usual, you're free to comment on the YouTube video. If you got some input and there's some things you want to say, talk about it. It's cool. We'll read them and we might provide some additional replies if they're critical. All right. So until next time, tune in to our YouTube channel and check out Anime Splash.